Hi everyone, and welcome to our practice today. So this one's going to be a little bit more energetic than number 3 that you're also sent this week. But with all my practices, please do remember you must listen to your own body. That's so key, especially in yoga. So if you feel that it's a little bit too much, just back off. The key is really listening to your body. So I always say, if you find yourself holding your breath through a pose, or if you find yourself putting a bit of a face, that's generally the sign that you're pushing yourself a little bit too hard. So back off, take a moment, and then join the flow when you feel ready again. There will be a few maybe trickier poses in today's practice, but when we do come up to those, I will offer plenty of variations for everyone, so everyone will be able to take part. So whether you're a beginner or a little bit more seasoned at yoga, I assure you will be catered for today. So if you have a yoga strap or a dressing gown robe, you may find that useful for the forward folds that we're doing. But like I said to you in the other sessions, if you don't have it, it doesn't matter. I'll offer another solution for you. And if you have a block, this may be useful today. So we're doing extended side angle pose today. As for those used to yoga, you'll know probably what that pose is. Grab something if you've got it, but if you don't have one, honestly, it's absolutely fine. There'll be some other options to the poses as we go through. So let's chat, more yoga. Let's get started. So getting yourself seated comfortably. Remember, this doesn't have to be cross-leg. If you prefer, you can take your legs out in front of you. Taking your hands over the knees, lifting the heart, shoulders dropping away from the ears, and let's gently close the eyes. So we're just going to take a few moments now to become reacquainted with the breath. Just gently stepping away from what's going on in the rest of our lives, just for a little while. Carving out a nice little space for ourselves. So when you're ready, we're going to take the breath a little bit deeper now. So in through the back of the nose, let the air come back down the back of the throat. And exhaling, keeping the mouth closed. And continue. So we're looking to take this breath up to the round of count of 5, so in for 5, out for 5. Taking it longer if it feels more comfortable. So that's in, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Taking just a few more moments here. Trying to make sure that we're not slouching through the spine. Really let the heart lift up. And let's gently open the eyes, taking the hands into prayer. Going to lift up through the arms and coming to a twist now. So the left hand onto the right knee, the right hand behind. We lift the spine and take the gaze behind it. So I'll come to the side so you can see. Spine long, taking the twist back, that shoulder rolling back. If you've got a bit more twist, you can always take the hand a little bit further round, taking that good twist through the torso here. And through to centre, hands into prayer, lift. And to the side. So right hand onto left knee, left hand behind. Really lift the spine and then take the gaze behind you. So we don't want to let go of that depth of breath in any of our poses. There might be some times where you prefer to open the mouth as we exhale. I'll leave you to decide when those moments are. Go to centre, hands up. And bringing them back down. So again, we're doing a little bit on our wrist today. So we're going to take hands out in front of us, getting a bit of a warm up. So making light fist with your wrists, with your hands rather. We're going to roll the wrist round. So a few times one way, and then a few times the other way. So make sure you keep alternating. So be sure we're not moving the arms, we're just moving the wrists. Taking the hands out in front of you, so you want to press through the heels of the hand, curl your fingers towards you, almost doming through the shoulder blades there. And then pressing our fingertips down, pressing now through the tops of the hand. And lifting it. And back down. Let's make some big star shapes with our fingers. Perfect. Hands onto knees. A couple of rounds of seated cat-cow. So I'll come to the side again to show you with this. So pressing our hands into our knees, chest up, shoulders back, lifting up. So this is our cow pose variation. And then exhale, dome the shoulder blades, concave the belly into our cat. Inhale, lift. Exhale back. Couple more times. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Bringing ourselves to neutral. I'm going to take the feet out in front of us now. So they should be roughly mat distance apart. You don't want them too close, and a fair distance away from your bum. So coming onto your fingertips, we're going to do some windscreen wipers with our legs. So let the knees move over towards the right, lift, and move over towards the left. So not everyone's knees will reach the ground. Don't worry if that's the case. You want to avoid bringing the feet too close together. So we don't want this on top of each other. You want to keep them wide. So the knee is almost coming into where the heel is of the foot. A few more times. So lifting and coming in. And then over the other side. Last time. And releasing from here. We're going to come into downward facing dog now. So either coming onto your knees or crossing the feet. Hands up and stepping back. First one, give ourselves a little pedal through the legs. Little twist through the side. And then just resting into our downward dog. Now finding our form. Shoulders rolled from the ears. Fingers spread wide. Feet about hip distance apart. Pressing the chest towards the thighs. So your ears are in line with your biceps. Taking your gaze through the legs behind you. So we're going to come onto our toes now. Or the balls of our feet. So lifting up the heels. And moving back down. 2 more. Lifting up. And back down. Last time, up and back down. Walking our feet towards our hands, coming into ragdoll. Never missing one of those in your practice. Holding the elbows, nice little sway now from side to side. So keep your gaze down. You want your neck to be loose. Avoid looking up. Keeping the legs long if it feels okay. If not, bend a little bit through the knees if you feel more comfortable. And up we go. Inhale, inhale. And hands down by our side. Bringing ourselves to the front of the mat now. So we're going to go through some variations of sun salutations, as I do with most sessions really. Bringing the feet together, ribs in, hips in. Pressing the energy down through the fingertips, taking the gaze forward. Let's take a breath together. Inhale. And exhale. And again. And exhale. Inhale, take the arms up. Exhale, forward fold, bend the knees if you need. Inhale, lift halfway, take the hands onto the shins if you can't quite touch the floor. Head up, shoulders back. We're going to step back with our right leg into a high lunge now. So hooking the back toes, taking the hands into prayer, finding your balance. And then we're going to drop to the back knee. Lift up through the arms, taking the weight forward into a low lunge. And now this is where a little bit of fun starts. So we're going to bring the right hand forward, the left one comes back. So you might just want to watch for this first one, and then we'll have a go together in a second. We're going to, this little left hand behind us, we're going to lift up, bring forward, and we're going to lift our body up, pivot on the heels, and then come down on the other side. So now our right hand is behind us, the left one's forward. Okay, we'll spend a couple of seconds here, and then we're going to do the same thing to bring ourselves back front. So this right hand comes forward, meets the front hand, we straighten, pivot on the heels, down we go. So now I've had a little practice, we'll do it for real now. So our left hand is behind us, our right hand is in front, taking that stretch through the body. Taking a breath here. Left hand moves forward, everything straightens, pivot, down we go, left hand behind, right hand forward. Back hand, the right hand comes to meet the front, we lift, straighten it all up, pivot round, drop back down. We're just going to come into a low lunge this time, taking the weight forward. Hands are going to come down, we're going to step ourselves back into a plank, ready for our chaturanga. So come to the knees if we're still building that strength, shoulders over the wrists. Exhale, down we go. Inhale, lift. Open chest, shoulders back, bend the elbows if it's too much on the back. Finding ourselves into downward dog, like slow it all down. Stepping forward to the front of the mat, lifting up that halfway lift, hands to shin or fingertips to floor, making sure the legs are straight. Forward fold. Inhale, all the way up we come. Hands down by side. So we're going to do all of that, but on the other side. So shoulders back, let's take a breath together. In. And exhale. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Lifting halfway. Left leg step back. High lunge. Settle, find the balance. Dropping the back knee. Arms lift to start. Taking the weight forward. So now the right hand comes back and the left one comes forward. Let's take a breath here. And let's get ready for our little pivot. So the right hand comes forward, meets the left. We come up, we straighten, pivot, 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 pivot. Down we go. And now the right hand comes back. No, I'm telling you wrong. The left hand comes back. The right one comes forward. Bringing the hands back together, lifting. Coming back down. Lower, weight forward. Hands come down, ready for our chaturanga. Stepping back, shoulders over the wrist, drop to the knees if we need. Control, lift, downward dog. Remember, if you don't want to go straight up, we can come back first and then move ourselves up. Settling ourselves again. Taking movement here in this downward dog. We're staying static, really enjoying the form of this pose. You want to raise up a little bit through the tailbone. Try and stretch the back of the legs. Gaze behind you. Stepping forward. Inhale, lift halfway. Forward fold. Inhale, inhale, inhale. Hands down. By our side. So we're going to do the same thing again. So we're going to do one on each side. So we're quite familiar with it now. So I shouldn't need to look up to me too much. Ribs in, hips in. Breath together. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift. Right leg, step back. High lunge, finding press, settle. Drop the back knee. Arms come up, weight is forward. Left hand back, right one forward. Take a breath here. Preparing yourself for the pivots. So this left hand, this back hand comes forward. We straighten, we pivot, we come down. Right hand back, left one forward. Back hand comes to meet the front. Straighten, pivot, come round, back to that low lunge, weight, sinking forward. Hands down, step back, chaturanga, remember the knees if you need. Control, up dog, note where your shoulders are, we don't want them round here, you want them back. Downward dog. Finding our breath in and out. In, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Stepping forward. Lifting. Forward, fold. Gently rising up. Stretch through the fingertips. Hands down by side. So, next side. Taking one more breath. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, raise the arms. Dive down, forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Left leg, step back. High lunge, balance, settle, press the palms together, lifting the chest up. Dropping the back knee, arms come up, weight forward. I'll try and get it right this time with the left and the right. So the right hand comes behind, the left one comes forward. That back hand comes round to meet the front. We lift, pivot, 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 pivot. Down we go, right hand forward, left one back. Both hands to meet, straighten it all up. Pivot, 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 pivot. Down we go, low lunge, weight, driving forward again. One more breath here. Hands down. Step back. Shoulders over the wrist. Strong core. Down we go. Up dog. Down dog. Adjust those feet. Bring them in slightly. Stepping forward, inhale halfway, forward fold, inhale all the way up, hands down, by side. Fantastic. So that's the main warm-up part done. We're going to work through a few different postures now. So bringing the feet about hip distance apart, taking the hands under the hip. Let's take a breath and exhale. Inhale again. Hinging at the hips. You're going to need these first two fingers and we want to slide them in between our big toe and our second toe. Palms are facing towards each other. So remember, if you can't touch your toes, then just bend your knees slightly. So lift the chest. I'll come to the side to show you. So we're taking some extension now. Lift the head and then elbow power. So the elbows move outwards. We hollow the belly and we try and bring ourselves along the length of our legs. So we're moving down. Avoid curling to get the head to touch the knees. So elbow power. Use the breath. Inhale, lift. So if that felt enough, we're going to do the same thing again. If you want to take it deeper, we're going to slide the hands underneath the feet. So aiming to try and get our toes to touch our wrist, but we're not quite there. You can just hook what you can under. Same thing applies. So extending, chest up, pressing down with the balls of our feet, and we're going to bend the elbows again, drawing ourselves in. So this is going to feel a little bit deeper than the first one. So we're trying to get the ribs over the thighs, the head towards the shins. Our weight is slightly forward into the balls of our feet. Inhale, lift halfway, hands to the hip. Gently come up to stand. I come back to the top of your mat, shoulders back. Take a breath. Triangle pose. So right foot at the front of the mat, the left one is going to come down. So you want to align your heels, arms come out, everything straight. So inhale, exhale. So grab hold of that front hand and they're pulling you forward. You're finding that space, and then this hand's going to come down wherever it rests. So we open the hips, open the chest, pressing up with our left fingertips. So some of you may be down here with this pose, some of you may be up here, but what's important is we're stacking everything over that front leg. Avoid pressing all the weight down into that leg as well. We're not resting here, we're trying to lift the energy up. So from here all the way through the chest, up towards the ceiling. So taking the hips in. Gaze comes down, lifting ourselves up to the front of the mat. We go. So exactly the same pose, triangle again, but on the other side. So the left foot is forward, the right one comes back. Align the heels, straightening ourselves up, arms come out in. Exhale. Down we go. So pulling the hips forward, so tucking the tailbone in. Not resting our weight down into the leg, taking that energy up through the body, up through to the ceiling. So the gaze can either be up towards that right hand, or it can just be directly forward if it's a bit uncomfortable on the neck. Gaze down, gently work your way up and back to the front of the mat we go. So if you do have blocks handy, this is where you may want to grab it and just bring it to the front of your mat now. If not, like I said, don't worry about it. Bringing ourselves into mountain, taking a breath and exhale. So keeping the right foot forward, this time the left one's going to come back a long, long way. So deep lunge now. So we want that front leg, good hinge. Forearm on the thigh to start, hips moving in, ribs in, taking that left arm up and then over the ear. So this may be uncomfortable for some people. So you may want to try taking your arm underneath and bringing it by the ear this way instead. Taking the gaze forward. And wait, we're moving this way. Gaze down, working our way all the way up. So we're going to take it deeper now if it's available. So this is where the hand's going to come down next to the big toe, or you can use the block. Inhale, exhale, moving forward. So hand next to the big toe, arm can come over. If you're not quite there, this is where your block comes in. Or we don't have any of those, back on to our leg, taking the gaze up. Try not to pull back with the hip, okay? We're still driving forward. So you're meant to feel it, okay? Gaze down, working our way all the way up. And now we're going to turn towards the front of the mat and drop our back knee. So I'll come forward with this, it might be a little bit easier for you to see. So we're going to keep a nice low deep lunge, taking our hands into prayer and turning ourselves over towards the right. So this top of the arm, we want to try and bring on the thigh and stack the elbows on top of each other. So for some of you, this will feel all right. So if your balance is pretty good here, then you can try and hook the back toes and lift the back knee. So I'll come on the side as well to show you this. So be hooking the back toes, palms together. But only if your balance is good. Don't force yourself. Lowering ourselves down, back to centre, finding a low lunge, hands down. We're going to draw the feet towards each other, forward fold. Inhale, rising up, hands down by our side. It's the same thing on the other side. So left one forward, that right one, long, big distance apart. Hands out, deep lunge, forearm first. Taking that right hand up and over the ear, letting your gaze follow that hand. So remember, you can always take the arm under if that feels better. That back leg should be straight, pressing the energy down through that sort of back edge of the foot. So if you feel that your bum's sticking out here, so bring the hips in. Hold the core strong. Gaze down, working our way up. So we're going to do that one more time. Either same option, we're going to take it deeper or grab hold of your block. Inhale, exhale, forward. Or find our block. Or come back on to the thigh with your forearm. Keeping the weight moving that way, pressing the energy down through that back leg. One more breath. Gaze down, all the way up. Turn towards the front of the mat and drop that back knee. So we're going to do same pose again. So hands into prayer. We're going to turn towards the left, top of the arm onto the thigh. Hands into prayer, stacking the elbows. So it does take a while to get your balance in this pose. If the first time you've done this, don't worry if you're wobbling around everywhere. That's perfectly normal. If you feel pretty sturdy though, hook the back toes. Rise up with the back knee, she says. Another breath or two. Dropping the knee, bring yourself through centre, lift. Bit of a deeper lunge. Hands down, drawing the weight forward, feet coming together, forward fold. Gently come up and down by our side. Let's take a breath again. And exhale. So we're going to come into some wide leg forward folds now. So I'm going to keep the right foot forward, taking the left one down the length of my mat. Take your legs as far as you can comfortably go, okay? Turning the feet towards each other, hands onto the hips. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, hinge. Dropping the hands down to the ground. Taking the right hand into the left hand into the centre of the mat, lifting up with the right. So taking a twist through the body, stacking the arms on top of each other. If you want to take it deeper, take the hand behind, try and hook on to the thigh. If that's a bit uncomfortable, then just come back here. Bringing the hands down. So right hand into center now, taking that twist up open through the body. Left hand all the way up to the sky. Gaze down. Both hands down, then take the hands to the hips, gently rising up, not too fast, all the way back up. So it's taking another breath in. And exhale. Inhale, arms come out. Exhale behind. So we're going to bring palms together, interlace the fingers, making a fist. Lift the chest, so roll the shoulders back. Gently come back and lift the neck. Lift the chin. Inhale. Exhale, so hinging at the hips, keeping hold of that fist, diving down. This fist is going to come overhead, down towards the floor in front of it. So your weight is slightly forward into the balls of your feet. You want to keep the legs straight. Try and keep the palms together using the breath. Going to come back up to stand. Inhale, not too fast, all the way up. Open the chest. Release. And back to the front of the mat we go. So we're going to come now into a couple of standing poses. So the first is going to our hand to toe pose. So bringing yourself to stand, hands to the hip for a moment, take a breath. And exhale. So let's root down through the left, lift up through the right. So you want to try and grab hold of the big toe. For some people this is a bit uncomfortable, so grab hold of the edge of the foot if that feels better. If that is not happening, then we just hold on to the shin, grab hold of a bit of furniture. So once we've decided what we're holding on to, we then want to lift through the body, getting ourselves a little bit of height. So feel strong, feel tall here. We can either hang out here for a little bit, or we can take the foot forward. So it doesn't matter if your knee is still bent here, okay? Give it time. Enjoy the journey. And the 2 breaths here. Drawing ourselves back in. Releasing down, hands down by our side. Take a breath. So, same pose other side. Root down through the right, lift up through the left. Hold on to the big toe, the edge of the foot, or grab hold of the shin. And when you're ready, and if you're ready, we start to extend out that leg in front of us. Gently bringing it back in and all the way down. Gently treading through the legs. So we're going to take our balancing pose now a little step deeper. So we're going to come into standing half lotus pose. But if you know you've got tight hips or if your knees are a little bit sore, I recommend you come into the alternative, which will be tree pose. So with tree, you can either put your toes to the floor, to the shin, or you can bring it all the way up to the thigh into our tree pose. So this is the alternative to the pose I'm going to show you in a second, okay? So we're going to come, you've all heard of lotus pose. This is a standing version of it, but only half of it. So we're going to root down through the left. I'm going to bend my left knee and I'm going to scoop up the lower part of my leg. I'm going to lift it up and this outer edge of my foot, I'm going to come right here at the top of my thigh. And from here, my knee is going to move down. And I'm just going to keep hold of my foot. So for some of you, you'll be able to release and wait here. For some of you, for the ones who've been to my classes before, if you want to try the bind then do, I'm not going to go through that though on today's video. But remember, the alternative is settling back into our tree. So those in lotus, we can gently come out of the pose, bring ourselves to stand. Let's work through the feet a little bit. And let's go the other side. So root down with this right leg, lifting it through the left. So we're going to scoop up, edge of the foot comes nice and high onto the top of the thigh. Knee needs to point downwards. Okay, you can keep hold of the foot, no pressure to let go at all. But if you feel pretty stable, you can take your hands into prayer. If you've got slippy leggings on, sometimes this can be a little bit difficult. So knee pointing down. You want that foot as high, your foot as high up on this thigh as you can. Alternative is our tree. So no pressure, don't push yourself. And then gently back to centre, hands down. Right, so that's taking a little bit of movement here. Now we're going to come to the front of the mat and we're going to move into chair. So feet together, thighs together, bum down, and we're going to take the hands into prayer, pointing down towards the ground to start. Then inhale, lift. So you want your palms facing together here. This lower part of your spine, you want to try and fill in with your abs a little bit, holding strong. If you just peek down, you should be able to see your toes, so your knees shouldn't be too far over your feet. Keep breathing. So the thigh burn is required on this, okay? You should be feeling the thigh burn. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, forward fold. So this should feel a lot easier now than the first one we did. Inhale, lift halfway, hands to shins or fingertips to floor, taking the gaze up, shoulders from the ears. Stepping all the way back now, into plank. Shoulders over wrists, drop to the knees if you need. Guiding yourself down, lifting up. Enjoying that lovely expanse. And downward facing dog. Take a breath. So we're moving into warrior one now. So we're going to take the left foot out 45 degrees. We're going to bring the right one to the front of the mat. As many steps as it takes. Lifting up through the arms. The weight is forward. Gaze is forward. Chest is lifted. Chin is slightly up. Strong warrior one. So we're going to do a couple of poses here. And then we're going to pivot like we did at the beginning of the session and do them towards the back of the mat. So you don't need to look back at me, I will talk you through them. So to start, we're going to inhale, straighten the legs, hips come out, warrior two, the arms come out now, sink back down with the knee over the ankle. Press out through the fingertips. Are our shoulders all the way up here? Make sure they're dropped. Inhale, straighten it all up. Back arm is going to slide down the back leg. We're going to stretch ourselves out in a reverse warrior. Rolling back up, warrior two again. Straightening, hips forward, warrior one. So it's warrior one, warrior two, reverse warrior, warrior two, warrior one. We're going to do this on the other side. So keeping our arms into this warrior one stance, we're going to inhale, straighten it all up, pivot, pivot, pivot towards the back of the mat, and then lunge down. So that left foot is pointing towards the front of the mat, that back leg is at 45, back foot is at 45 degrees. Keep the breath. So don't look back. I'll talk through what we need to do. So inhale, legs straighten. The hips are going to move out. Arms are going to come down. Warrior two. Settle down with that front leg again. So the knee is over the ankle. Our arms are pressed out to either sides of the room. Our shoulders are away from the ears. We're feeling strong. Warrior two. Inhale, straighten the legs. Back arm down, back leg, reverse. Finding that lovely stretch through the side of the body. Rolling ourselves all the way back up. Warrior two again. So settle down with that front knee. So good lunge. Pressing the energy down through the back leg. We're going to straighten. Take our hips forward. Warrior one. So gaze is forward, hips are forward. Gaze lifted ever so slightly. So staying with our warrior one arms, we're going to straighten again and pivot back to the front of the mat. So we can see the TV again. So settling down. Inhale. Exhale, hands come down. So you can either go straight into downward dog if you're feeling a little bit knackered, or we can step back into chaturanga, into our plank, and work our way down. Lifting shoulders back. I'm going to open the knees slightly. Settle back into child's pose. Take a couple of breaths here. Find downward dog. We're going to lift up through the right leg, three-leg dog, nice and high. Down we go. And lifting up through the other. Left leg comes up. And down we go. So bringing ourselves to seated now. We can either come to our knees or we can cross our legs underneath us and extend the legs out in front of us. So we're going to come into a forward fold now. So grab a strap if you've got one. Don't worry if not. Inhale. Lifting up through the arms. Hinging at the hips, okay? So we're trying to get our head down towards our feet. If you can grab hold of the feet, then do. Holding onto the toes. Hands over the top of the feet like we did when we were standing. Lift the chest and bring yourself along the length. If the feet are not happening today, we either grab the strap or take our hands either side. And start to creep our fingers forward. Another alternative is to bend the knees, hold on to the edge of the feet and slide your legs forward. So we may remain here, but use the breath. You may find just millimetre by millimetre, you may start to straighten them. The key is though, keep looking where we're going with this place. So forward, we're pulling forward with our heart. Ribs over the thighs, chest down towards the shins. Avoid looking down. As soon as you do, we start to curl. Inhale, straighten. We're going to come to reverse plank or reverse tabletop. So the hands come behind us. Doesn't matter which way your fingers are pointing, whatever works. So reverse plank is hips come up. We're trying to get the toes to touch the ground. Head up. Take the neck back if it feels okay. If not, chin to the chest. So stay there for a few breaths if we manage to get there. If not, we're going to bend the knees, feet onto the ground and lift up. So this is our reverse tabletop. This is our alternative. Either way though, really drive the hips up towards the ceiling. The neck can still come back. Or if we don't like that, just chin to the chest. Keep the breaths. One more. And lower. Down we go. Extend the legs, lifting up. You may just want to work through the hands a little bit. And down by the side we go. So we're going to come into seated pigeon now. So we're going to keep the left one long, bring the right leg, so the right ankle is just over the left knee. That knee is moving away and down from it. We're going to bring the left foot flat onto the ground, come onto our fingertips and really stretch it through our body. So the knee is moving away, we're flexing the foot, so it's not floppy, it's flexed. Press up through the chest. So this may be enough, okay? You should feel the stretch across this right side of the thigh. If you're not feeling an awful lot, we can take it deeper. So the bum moves towards the heels. It may not get all the way there. It may get all the way there. But we keep our chest lifted. Flex the foot, knee away and press the chest towards the shins. So for those of you who are a little bit more flexible around this area, then you may want to take it deeper. However, we're not quite there. Just take ourselves a little bit further back. It's quite easy to cheat in this pose. So if you do start, if we're looking like this, you're not going to feel an awful lot. So lift, lift, lift. Knee away. Press through the ball of the feet. And come back to the breath again. And gently release. So unhooking, moving on to the other side. So we're going to take the left ankle over the right knee now. So knee presses away. For some of you, this may look a little bit more like this, and that's okay. But we'll keep working it in that direction, pressing through the ball of the feet, lifting through the chest. Taking it deeper if you want. So the bum goes towards the heels, and the hands move closer towards the bum, but don't lose that stretch through the spine. Few more breaths here. And gently releasing down. So we're going to take the legs out in front of us now. So we're going to have a few alternatives for the next couple of poses. So this right leg, we're going to bring in close to us. And we're going to try and bring, if you can, into the elbow creases. If that is not happening, then don't worry. Maybe hold it like this, or hold on the underneath. Whatever works. Spine lifted again. And we're going to take the knee side to side. So all the way around. Be gentle on the knee. What we're trying to do is move the hip. We're finding the full range of motion through that hip. We're going to grab hold of the foot now. We're going to extend out. And we're going to try and take the head towards the knee. And then the knee is now going to move diagonal and outwards. Okay, so out. Then lifting up. And then back again. And that's time lifting up. So we've got some options now. For those of you who felt pretty good in that standing half bound lotus, then what we're going to do now is trying to come into half lotus here. So this edge of the foot comes as high up on that thigh as we can. The knee moves down. You may just need to adjust your bum a little bit so you feel comfortable here. If your knee is looking like this, then we're going to unhook it and bring it onto the inside of our thigh so it's comfortable. We only get one set of knees, so let's protect them. Do not need to force ourselves into this pose at all, okay? So unless you feel comfortable there, then the knee moves down. So either way, whether you're here or whether you're here, we're going to come into a forward fold. Lifting through the arms, coming forward, trying to grab hold of that foot. We're not reaching the foot yet. We can take our hands either side, just pressing ourselves forward from here. So for those of you who have done my classes before and feel comfortable in this half lotus pose, you can try the bind if you want. I'm not going to go through it in this video, it's just for those who know what I'm talking about really. So lifting up, pressing the fingers forward. and lifting ourselves up. So a couple of options. For those of you in the lotus, you're going to try and come into full lotus. So you're going to try and bring the other one on top. So we're in full lotus. So I'm going to come to the people who were doing the alternative pose in a second. So for those of you who are in this full lotus pose, what we're going to do is try and lift ourselves up if we can. So the hands come either side of the thighs. So remember, I'm going to come over to the side so you can see me a bit better. So the weight is slightly forward, and then we're going to try and lift ourselves off of the ground, keeping the breath going. For those of you who were in the other pose, we're going to extend our legs out. It probably is better here actually. Taking the hands next to the bum, pressing into the ground and lifting up the bum from here. Another breath. And release. So extending, lifting up, hands down, other side. Bringing the other leg in now. So giving it a nice little hug, rather holding on to it in our elbow creases, all the best that we can. So holding here, holding in the side of our leg, making sure we're protecting the knee. So we're now moving, it's the hip that we're moving. So opening up, and then take hold of the foot. Extend, bringing our shin towards our head a little, and then the knee moves diagonally back. Okay, finding a little bit more opening there through the hip. Lifting up. Back we go. Last time up. And then try the options again. So we're in half lotus if that is available to us. So adjust yourself once you found there. The knee should be down by the ground. If you look like this, if it hurts, foot inside of the thigh. I'm going to say it again. We only get one set of knees, so let's look after them. Moving into a forward fold now. Lift, coming forward, or hands by a side. Either way, though, we're pulling forward with that chest. If you are in this pose and not in half lotus, you want to just drive the knee down. So just use a little bit of motion there. So move that knee down towards the ground, still pressing forward with our hands. So bring ourselves up. So we're going to do the same options, almost anyway. So if we are in half lotus, then we can try, bring the other foot round, gently lifting up into our full lotus pose. And again, so we're doing the same pose, but we're just trying the lift now. Same lift, just legs the other way around. So hands on the ground, pressing forward. Sometimes it's if you are having trouble with this, maybe get a couple of books and you might be able to get a little bit more lift off the ground. So we really want to squeeze the legs up and find that little bit of a hover here. For those of you who were in the other pose, we're going to take the legs out. This time we're going to take our hands slightly further forward and we're going to try and lift our feet off of the ground this time. So pressing the energy into the ground, lifting up through the feet. And lowering ourselves down. So lotus, guys, if you want to gently unhook yourselves now, extend out through the legs, lifting up. We're going to come into a downward facing dog. So crossing the legs or coming onto your knees, lifting up. It's like a little bit of movement here. And we're going to bring ourselves to seated again, either coming onto your knees, swizzling around, or crossing the legs underneath you. We want to come onto our back now. So taking the knees into the chest. Little roll on the spine. Ask you to gently roll up to seated. So as with the other video that I sent you this week, what we're going to do is lay our breaths, our Namaste together here, and then I'm going to invite you then to lay onto the ground, maybe put on a bit of a nice song that relaxes you, get yourself comfortable and really take as long a Shavasana as you want to here, okay? So let the hands over the knees, really lift the chest, shoulders back. Take a nice deep cleansing breath together in and out through the mouth. And again, inhale. Exhale. Hands that pray at the heart. Just reminding ourselves every day to be thankful for all of those little things. Really practice gratitude, it's so important, probably now more than ever. Still so many things to be thankful for. Take another breath and exhale. And Namaste to you. So if you want to gently recline now onto your mat, lay however feels nice to you. So it could be bent legs, feet together. Nice big star shape. Take one more deep breath together. And we out through the mouth with noise. Surrender now into that final pose, into our Shavasana.